Good morning, fellow streakers. It's Jeff and Jamie back with you, streaking one more time and one more podcast. Jamie, we went out on our walk this morning. It is absolutely beautiful in Georgia, don't you think?
It is gorgeous today. It's almost always beautiful in Georgia.
Oh, my goodness. It is one of the things that we will miss is the bird aviary as we go out among the trees and just hear all kinds of different birds flying all over the place in the treetops. It's just beautiful.
And this time of year, the cicadas, too.
I love the cicadas. I've really enjoyed that.
They are the sound of summer to me.
That is true. Their song is the sound of summer. Well, this month we've been, or not month, I guess for the first part of the month, we were talking about you getting your streak summer ready in June. And then we've transitioned into back to the basics. And last podcast, we talked about law number 1, make it laughably simple. And it's interesting because we had quite the conversation break out in our streaking meeting.
I would almost call it a debate.
It was a full-on debate, I would agree. And we're going to discuss that debate. Jamie and she and I had opposite ends of this issue, and it was interesting to talk about. So we'll unfold that debate to you today. But before we do that, I wanted to highlight a streak, maybe one or two, but one definitely. I got the bowling ball streak last night when I marked that I had completed one of my streaks, which the bowling ball streak is 300 consecutive days. And the streak that I got the bowling ball streak on was connect with one of my children or grandchildren daily. Now, we don't have any grandchildren yet.
But you added that to it when you set that streak.
I did, 300 days ago. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, because I was looking forward and I was thinking, you know what? Eventually we will be grandparents, even though I'm in full denial because we have a 9-year-old.
I know. When you made that streak connect, what was the thought? What constitutes connecting?
When I had I have 2 streaks, one of them with our children. One is to contact at least one of our children daily. And that one right now is 1,949 days old. And I made that one when I was traveling so much that I didn't want to lose sight of contacting one of our children. Well, so you see this is 300 days old. You can consider it as probably just at the start of the pandemic.
Right.
And as I was thinking about it, I thought, I want to take it just one level up, just a little bit different than just contact, because I was in contact with one of our children every single day. I wanted to move it to connect. Now, connect for me is to look at the child, acknowledge them, and be completely present for whatever it is they're saying. So like, for example, if Chance is telling me about something that he had done at school that day, to connect with him is to ask him a question and to really listen to the answer and maybe ask a follow-up question. And that can be all of 10 seconds. I mean, I don't consider connection a time-bound thing. It is a intention or focus type thing. And so that's what I mean by connect. So when, for example, I talk to Rose or to Megan or to Natalia, it's truly to listen and not be distracted by something else. Because for me, I can go very quickly. You've often said it, I'm a person I have a bias toward action.
Yes. And
there's sometimes where I get the information that I need from the person to whom I'm speaking, and I move on. Mm-hmm. And I just go to that next place. Now, I'm not doing that because I don't value what the person is that they said. Well, maybe I don't. I mean, if I really look at it, am I placing value if I just go on to the next thing? I don't know. But in this instance, I was like, you're valuable to me. So, for example, when you and I connect, I'm intently listening. I'm fully present. I have none of the distractions that could be around, such as my computer or my iPad or my iPhone. I'm fully connected for whether it be 10 seconds or 10 minutes or 10 hours. I mean, it's a full connection.
So how do you do that what if the day goes by and you didn't think about that streak? How do you do that in the evening? Like, how do you keep that streak alive if something happened? Do you know what I mean? I see it's laughably simple in the moment, mm-hmm. But what if you've gone through the day and forgot about it till the end? Mm-hmm. Do you have that experience or? Yeah.
Well, so right now I don't, because we've got 3 children still at home, mm-hmm. And when I'm here, I just go into their room and I'll connect with Chance, or I'll connect with Lily, or I'll connect with Bowen very quickly. When as we get more toward no children in the home, One of the things that I believe is connection too is if, for example, I'm reaching out to a child via text or email or phone, it's a connection in the sense that I'm fully connect. It's not just a contact. Hey, how are you doing? Hopefully your life is great. It's a connection in that I was thinking about you today, and here were the 3 or 4 things that I thought about. And I just wanted to say what a privilege it is to be your dad.
Okay.
Something like that.
That's good. So this was the debate that we were having.
Oh.
A little bit. But
on
you
my
wanted
connection?
to do no, not on the connection. on it just was making me think about.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
What
yeah.
we were talking about with Laughably Simple,
right?
And exactly what that means.
And we can go right on with that. That was the only streak that I had to highlight today. I'm sure there's several more out there, but that one, it was fun to get the bowling ball streak last night. So Laughably Simple.
Strike. Yay.
Yeah.
So I was just thinking that as you were talking, because that was part of what we were talking about on our meeting. So what happened is that we had a post on Instagram that said, make it what did it say?
Simple.
Laughably simple.
Not even laughably simple. Simple.
And then it said
not
easy. And it had easy crossed out.
Yeah.
And that created quite the firestorm of debate among our streaking team.
Yes, it did.
Because the question was,
is streaking easy?
Right. Is streaking easy? And the person that had made the post was communicating, and I'm going to express her communication because that's the side I was on. She was saying that oftentimes we look
and you could call it was Laurel.
Laurel,
I mean, yeah.
Laura was saying, and I thought this was such an important point, what she was saying, we talk about laughably simple, but that doesn't mean that this is a quick fix or something that's super easy to do and you just need to do it. Laughably simple is that the task that you're choosing,
and I wouldn't even call it a task, the activity, whatever it is
that you're choosing to streak on is laughably simple. However, I don't believe that streaking is easy. That was the debate.
Because on the other side of it, may I represent the side that I was on? I was like, streaking is absolutely easy. That's why we do it. I mean, that's why I make it happen, is because it is easy to do. It's something that I can do every single day, no matter what. And so on the side that I was representing,
which even as you say it, I'm just like, you're just so wrong.
I know, and that's the beautiful part about this.
Say it again, and I'll be like, nope, still wrong.
And what I look at is that the whole reason that I, so many years ago, 6 years ago, looked at, for example, the flossing my teeth, is I needed something easy to do, easy that was an easy task to complete. Otherwise, I wasn't doing it.
Right.
I wasn't making it happen. It's interesting. Yesterday, I was on with a professor I'm interviewing him for my profession, Helping Clients Succeed webcast that's coming up next week. His name is Mark Colgate. And he's a streaker. He loves the streaking book, and we were talking a little bit about it. And he was mentioning just the whole idea of streaking and, sorry, I lost my train of thought there for a second. I was going in a totally different direction. He said, how does streaking compare to Atomic Habits? Because he said, Atomic Habits has taken the world by fire, and, James Clear's gotten all kinds of press and publicity. And do you find that is difficult? And you know what? For just being completely transparent, yeah, it was for a while, until I realized that habits fall out of streaks, and that actually you start with a streak if you want to get any type of a habit. And so if you want to, for example, get better at writing beautiful cursive, start with a streak of writing at least one sentence daily. You see what I mean?
Right.
And then the mechanics of actually writing get to be automatic. So that's how you can create an atomic habit, is starting with a streak. And I think when you properly put those things in place, you recognize that streaking is easy. I mean, it's one of those things. It's a framework. It's a tool. It's something that I can do that's easy. Writing one sentence is easy. And she's looking at me right now like, oh, here we go.
So this was the debate that ensued. And so I'm going to agree with you that yes, writing one sentence is easy. Laughably simple. That's one of the biggest challenges that we have with law number 1, is that this disbelief that it's going to make any difference, because it is so laughably simple or easy. The challenge comes in not the task or activity that you're doing that's your streak. The challenge comes in the consistency of doing it. And in that regard, that's where I look at it and think streaking in that way is not easy. I think that there's a huge amount of effort that is required to be consistent. And so this was the fun part of the debate that we kind of reached, is recognizing that when we're talking about making something laughably simple, because it is very important that it be laughably simple. That is a rule.
The activity is laughably simple. That's the law. That's the thing that you've got to do in order to set up a successful streak.
And why does it have to be laughably simple? Because you want to be consistent at it. You want this to be something that you are doing again and again and again, so that it's something that's added into your life. However, that level of consistency is not easy. And what you came and brought to the table is you're like, well, what if we talk about the automacy of it? That's kind of where we really diverge. When I read Atomic Habits, there was so much in that book I agreed with, and one very poignant thing that I disagreed with that was foundational, and that is this concept that by doing something enough times, it will be automatic in the sense that you won't have to think about it anymore. Mm-hmm. And I just have not found that in my life.
Yeah.
I have not found that doing something enough times means that I will do it without even thinking about it. It still, at some level, is always a conscious decision, a conscious choice to be doing this. It is not going to be automatic. And that's the part that I look at with streaking and think that's where the effort comes in. Streaking requires a lot of hard work. That's what I wanted to communicate. And that's what I believe Laurel was communicating, is that we talk about laughably simple, but this is not some quick fix to your life. It's not the activity that you're doing is laughably simple, yes. The ability to be consistent is not laughably simple. It takes effort and energy and work. And that's why there had to be a law number 2, that you have to keep record of it. That is part of the work of the streak, is that you have to keep a record that shows that you're doing it every day. Part of the work is overcoming the disbelief that you're getting anywhere. Part of the work is learning to be patient, that something small is making a difference. Part of the work, and this is a huge part of it, especially in the beginning, is just remembering it, just remembering to do it. That takes a lot of, all of these things are part of the effort that go into streaking. And that's what I feel Laurel was saying, is that the activities of streaking are laughably simple. That part is easy. But the actual effort that it takes to streak,
to be consistent
is not easy, and it's not automatic.
I agree.
Oh, great. We're done. All right. Let's cue the music. We're good to go.
What I agree and how I agree is that, again, the activity itself is easy, and it should be easy. It should be laughably simple. That's why we laugh at it, because we think that it's not going to make any difference. And you know what? That's true. It will not make a difference when done inconsistently. But when done consistently, when the activity is the work and the effort and the energy of the consistency, of the consecutive day after day after day after day after day of writing at least one sentence, that is effort. I would agree with you 100%. But that's why it needs to be laughably simple, is because where I want to spend my effort, where I want to spend the energy and the focus is on starting to make that thing part of my life, because it's a start, it's not an end. It's not a finish. It's where I begin. That is the key, and that's why it needs to be so laughably simple. And going back to one of your points about being automatic. In fact, we changed the post.
We did change the post.
Say it's simple, not automatic. And that is crucial. Simple, not automatic. And that's where I go back to. So I have a little experience that we had last night that I want to share. So one of our streaks, we both share this streak. It's not a team streak, but it's one you have and I have, is to file at least one financial transaction daily. So we have a budget, and one of the reason why we want to be that is we want to be organized and responsible with our finances. And so what we had set up is to file at least one transaction daily, right?
Mm-hmm.
The program that we use, or the application that we use to do that, is called Envelopes. It's spelled with an M, Velopes. You're welcome, Envelopes, for that free advertising. All right. Envelopes, we have a love-hate relationship with envelopes, but it's not really with envelopes. All right. So let me explain a little bit further. Envelopes has it in there, like many of the financial programs that are out there, where you can link it to your bank. And when you link it to your bank, automatically on a daily basis, the transactions that are completed through the bank get uploaded into envelopes. And so what we then do is go and file one of those transactions in an envelope that we've set up. You know, for example, if you go to the grocery store, don't you have like a Publix or a Kroger envelope?
Yep.
So let's say you go to the grocery store, you buy, $33 worth of groceries. Then what happens is that comes into the app and you see that $33 at Kroger, and then you take and you file it in
Kroger.
In
the
Kroger.
envelope that
That's
says
right.
Kroger
That says Kroger.
under the master category of groceries.
Under the master category. Now, here's where this is all coming to a point. Frustrating situation. When we have made that link, the link between the bank and envelopes, it's automatic, and we expect it to be there every single day. Now, here's the problem. Because of security, because of fraudulent activity that happens out there, algorithms and security protocols are continually being updated, which breaks the link. And we don't have transactions that get automatically downloaded into envelopes. But we don't know it until it's been like 3 or 4 days. And it is so frustrating because why? Because it's not automatic. I have to pay attention to it. That's what I look at as far as habits. That is why habits are so destructive at times. Can be excellent, but so destructive to think that good things in my life are going to become automatic, because when they're not, then I get frustrated. I'm mad. And envelopes may not even be causing the problem. It may be on the bank side, where the bank side is, they've changed their full security protocols, and the security protocols that I had set up before in envelopes to grab those transactions are no longer available. And therefore, envelopes can't do anything about it unless I go in and actually do something. However, when I have a streak, I'm conscious of that, and I'm not relying on that automatic connection anymore. I am consciously, deliberately, intentionally looking at my budget every single day. So even though it's sometimes frustrating that I have to go and fix that, guess what? I'm fixing it.
Mm-hmm. You're noticing.
Does that make sense? I mean, is that a good metaphor? That's why I think it's easy to file a transaction.
The transaction is easy,
but it's not automatic.
The other thing that and that's so true. And I think that is one of the biggest challenges that we are striving to overcome with this concept of habits is this idea that if you get everything set in place and you do it enough times, you won't have to revisit it. It'll just be there. And it'll just happen.
Like the connection, the financial connections.
How many
it should just be there.
times have we gone in and reset this and fixed it and had it? And the frustration comes with the expectation that now we've done it, we've put in the time, we're looking at it every day. It should just take care of itself. But it doesn't.
I should not have to go back in and link that up again.
So that's a really good analogy, because the truth is, why do we even care? Because our money is valuable to us and we want to know where it is. And even though we set up some level of automacy, in other words, certain things that will happen automatically to make things easier, there's a whole element of your financial stability that requires you to be paying attention, that requires you to be intentional in the way that you approach it. And I think that's what we're trying to communicate in all of streaking, is that there are some things that may become automatic in the way that you have them set it up to make it easier, but the intentionality of what you're doing, because it's important and you're striving towards becoming a certain kind of person, that intentionality will always need to be there. And just by recognizing that, it changes the way that you view. So taking it to the financial aspect again, recognizing that you're like, okay, there's certain things that are going to be most of the time automatic. Like I remember the days when I used to go in and handwrite all of our, like I kept a ledger of all of our transactions.
I remember that.
And that I don't have to do that anymore. That has become, for the most part, automatic. I can find those transactions and I don't have to handwrite them in. However, the level of needing to be intentional in keeping track of things, looking at it, that has never changed. I still need to be just as intentional about how I'm living my financial life as I was before those things were more automatic.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I think we're communicating with streaking, is that recognizing and acknowledging that there will always be a level of intentionality will help you to see, okay, this is what I want to be doing.
Okay, so now that we've had this little debate, I've been thinking about something, and I think you might be surprised by this. I agree, streaking is not easy.
Whoa.
And the reason why I want to say that is because I think that's the what happens with habits is people start to think it'll be easy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not.
And it's not going to be this quick fix. Like, all I have to do is this, and everything's going to be fixed, and
right.
I won't even hardly have to try.
Right. I'm trying to think of the word. It's not coming to my brain. It's like on the front of my frontal lobe, but I can't think of it as far as... I want to just say that, thinking that a behavior is going to be automatic is a destructive way to think, because I start to doubt myself. Whereas when I'm intentional, and I know that, for example, when I miss a streak, I miss a streak. If I break the streak because I didn't do that simple activity for whatever the reason, I know right up front that this is not going to be automatic. In other words, I expect that I'm not setting up a false expectation.
Exactly.
That's what I was looking for. It's not a false expectation.
And that's why Laurel made that post. I want to continue this conversation just one more time, because I've got a little bit more I want to communicate.
Oh, you have a little bit more you've got to communicate.
So at least start off our next podcast.
Hey, and maybe you have an opinion about it. If you've been listening to our conversation, give us an email at Jeffrey, Jeffrey, at streakingmastery.com.
Or Jamie, Jami, at streakingmastery.com. Or follow us on Pinterest or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn.
We soon will have the app updated with the whole new community, which I'm excited to start posting, which we will do. But that's not till the fourth quarter of this year, so we're looking forward to that.
Until then, go in and review the book.
Yeah, please review the book,
helpful.
Review the app. Let us know what you think. And until we talk again,
keep streaking.
It's the small and simple things that make you grow into what you're hoping